Oh, I'm doing great. I'm having mall monarchy at the moment. I got to pass through this mall on my way back home this evening, and I just thought I'm gonna just take a break and chill out and see if anyone's on Anchor. And
Yeah.
it's you. It's you. Yeah.
Yeah. Funny, man.
So
Funny.
I got this little relaxation area in the local mall, so I'm chilling out and watching people waste their hard-earned cash on stupid shit that they don't even fucking need.
I was at a mall as
Like,
well later this day, but damn, man.
yeah,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
do those fat people really need more ice cream? I mean, you have to question the logic of that decision.
Yeah, I know, man. But yeah, hey, that's their
Oh,
life, right? That's their life. So
oh yeah, it's
yeah,
your life, your choice. Bye bye. You don't. Sometimes you don't need to know which direction that you need to go in. You just need to know which direction to not go in. Right?
yeah,
Go
yeah.
the opposite. Go the opposite way. And,
Hey, where
but,
did you live? Where did you live? I forgot.
well,
Where did you live?
right now, I'm Banska Bystrica, central Slovakia.
Oh,
That's where
Slovakia. Okay. Yeah,
that's where I am right now. Although originally I am from the beautiful highlands of the north of Scotland, but
I love it. I
that
love
was
it.
that was a long time ago. Anyway, love is the drug, man.
Yeah. Did we
Love is the
did
drug.
we talk about love? One of the topics? No, eh?
Um, I don't think we've gone into that topic, but it's so huge, though,
Yeah.
right? When it's like saying, let's talk about the universe. Okay, where
Yeah.
do you want to start, man?
No, well, how do you define love, my friend?
Um, well, I'll give you two perspectives, right? Because I'm not sure I can define anything correctly, but this, I'm I'm approaching the holistic perspectives, right? That
Okay.
that there are not spectrums in life. It's not like a pendulum swinging from one side to the other side. Everything is holistic, which means that you've got both sides of the coin on the same side. That's a weird thing to say, isn't it? Okay, so
No, I understand.
what I mean by that is essentially everything that has an opposite. The opposite is part of the same thing,
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It's one thing. So
Yeah.
um, so the perspective I've got is if we say the opposite of love is hate, just as a general example, then both love and hate are essential elements of the same thing. Yeah, they're sparking some kind of emotion that drives us or moves us towards or away from things. And so I think it's half the story. If you just look at love, you only get half the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful.
So so that's one way of looking at it. So you can't say you love something without realizing that you don't love something at the same time. And also, if a lot of people who get involved in relationships at the beginning, they've got this whatever they describe or call as love, but very often at the end they can find themselves hating each other.
Yeah, it's
And
crazy, yeah?
yeah, and those two emotions are not as far away from each other as people think they are. They're not opposite ends of the spectrum. They're
No.
just two perspectives on the same thing.
But you know what it is? I talk a lot about the topic love with people, but they confuse love with conditional love and unconditional love. Because many people think that's because they said it's complicated, it's hard, and all this kind of tough stuff. But normally, for me, it's quite simple because if I define love, I think of love as happiness, peace, joy, harmony, freedom, abundance, everything that gives me a big smile on my face and lift each other up and just want to give it back. Because you know what it is. If you experience the other side of love, like hate or fear, then you can choose which frequency you want to hang on to, right? And I think love is the highest frequency.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good way of looking at it. You can see in terms of mood that a person who is experiencing this, what we call love, is in general in a happy state. Yeah, and a person who's experiencing it is generally in an angry state. But I think there's also a lot of confusion over trying to control the element of love in life. And it's similar when people try to define God. You know, everyone's got a slightly different picture. Everyone's got a slightly different perspective. Maybe they're all talking about the same thing, but the way that they view it is slightly different. And I think another way that that we can view it is that love is our automatic, almost automatic response to virtue if we ourselves are virtuous people.
Mm-hmm.
And if we define it like that, what we can come to understand is that we don't have a lot of control over the element of love. Because if a person in our environment is virtuous or displays virtue, we are automatically attracted towards that, whether we want to be attracted towards it or not. And that can be manipulated in the sense that people can display or project virtues that they don't have to fool or trick other people into loving them to a certain extent. I don't know if that makes sense to you. I mean, do you want to respond?
Yeah, it makes sense for something somehow, because you explained already, if you're in a relationship, the first moments, especially the first moment that you meet each other, oh man, you are so in love, butterflies in the stomach, and you do anything with that person. You go to restaurants, movies, you let your good part see to that person. But after a while, you cannot keep it up, because the other side will also be revealed. I mean, the part that you don't like of yourself, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, you tend to project everything that is great within you naturally, because you want to create a positive image, and we tend to sort of sweep under the carpet the bad elements of character, but it's still part of us, and we have to get to accept the negative as much as the positive. I mean, you've got to love somebody for their faults as much as loving them for what they're good at as well.
Yeah, but I know why you don't let that part immediately revealing when you're in that relationship, because that's the rejected part you have been taught when you were little. Because when you're little, you've been taught that you have to earn love, right? If you listen, then you are rewarded. If you're not listening, then you've been punished. So that's in my eyes conditional love, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you always want to be liked and be loved. So you want to earn love, and you always want to try your best. But that is what you're doing if you're going to in a relationship. You're looking for that love in that relationship, and then eventually you can keep it up, and then argue starts. You're blaming each other, angry, hurt, all this kind of stuff. But it is eventually a mirror that you are reflecting to, and you have to go deeper in your emotional body to solve that, because it has nothing to do with that person, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it's possible that all relationships are mirrors, and that we're just
man, I think, in my opinion, okay, it's my experience. I don't say this is the truth, but it's from my experience, it's the truth. Because if I look in everyone as a mirror, and I see the easy part is to see the positive in someone, right? Then you like that person, and it's okay. But if you see something that does not quite that positive, and it triggers you, then it's something that you have to look into yourself, because you can judge that person, but you're judging yourself at that part. If you see everyone as a mirror, right? Because if you're pointing fingers to that mirror, it reflects back to you. So
there's also an element that a lot of the things that we find uncomfortable within other people tell us a lot about ourselves as well.
Yeah, because you know what it is. Because I've experienced it a lot, that some person, for example, a friend of mine, he doesn't like him somehow, but I have no problem with it. So then you have to figure out, why is that? Because if if it's not that person, who is it? Who is it then? It's him, right? My friends. So you have to look deeper inside what it is. What kind of emotion comes up, right? If it's jealousy or anger, and then you have to relate it back to something that has happened in the past, and especially when you've been brought up, because there are all the answers what are rejected within you, you know. And I've seen it, and yeah, I could really do something about it, because understand this: what angers you controls you. Simple as that. If it doesn't matter if it's this person or another person, because that's what a relationship is about, to know yourself more and more. Because people are tended to break up the relationship and jump into a new relationship, and the whole story begins back and forth again, right?
Oh yeah, it's powerful, the idea that emotions are controlling us. I mean, it's the emotion, it's the movement,
energy, emotion. Yeah,
absolutely. And well, here's another question that just crossed my mind, right? It's where does it go, right? Let's just say that you're young, you're in love with someone, you're having a positive experience, and then for some reason, somehow it disappears. Where does it go? Has it always not been there? Was it always an illusion, or what's happening there? Are we growing and moving on? Are we separating? I mean, are our perspectives not in line?
You know what it is. Your name is Graham, right? Graham.
Yeah, people call me GW, but you can call me anything you want.
Okay, Graham. Or what was it? Andrew or what? Hendrey. I call you Graham.
G. Okay, like the letter. Just call me G. It'll be cool.
Okay, G. Okay, G. For me, it was quite obvious that I was thinking about, like, with who do you have the longest relationship with? With yourself, right?
Okay, true.
Yeah. So I thought by myself, okay, let's make it the best relationship that I ever have, because it's gonna be the longest, so it better be the best relationship you ever have. So for me, it's simple. If you treat yourself like all the things you want to be treated as a partner, then you will attract a partner as well that has the same values. Because normally, if you don't do that, you will attract the person that shows you the wounded self in yourself. Because that's the reflection that you are confronted with, right? The trigger part. So I know for a fact now that I will attract a totally different kind of woman in my life that I had with my ex-wife. Because with my ex-wife, I had lots of issues, because we were blaming each other for some parts, you know, because she was a really criticizing woman. And I know where that came from, because my mother was very criticized me as well. So in that part, I could really do something about it, you know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's a great term that you mentioned there, the wounded self. Yeah, that's really powerful, because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people walking around who are wounded, right? They look okay on the outside, but they're suffering emotionally on the inside. They can't get balance within their relationships. They can't find who they are, who they need to be.
Yeah. Because I got a girlfriend. She always attract bad partners, right? But she jumped into a relationship, very quick. She doesn't take time alone, and that's the thing. People don't like to be alone, but you have to be alone to know yourself. Because all alone, if you break that word apart, it's all one. So you become all one with yourself. If you become that part, then you attract also a person that is whole from themselves. So together you celebrate that wholeness, and not claiming that part of that emptiness that you are looking for, right? In a relationship, like, you complete me or something like that. No, you're not complete me, because otherwise I would be always dependent on you. And that's not a relationship about.
Yeah, people talk about like, oh, a relationship is 50-50, and it's like, I'll go like it's 120-120. It's not you're putting half in and half in to make a whole. You got to put in more than a whole and more than a whole in order to exponentially grow and enjoy all the benefits of
exactly.
parts of the relationship.